the author is Councilman Gordy and Councilwoman Johnson on.
I'm here.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I just had to slide my screen over. Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. We certainly appreciate everyone being on this meeting. We certainly is grateful for this opportunity in this day. So it is 9 o'clock and I am calling the meeting to order. So at this time, council, is Reverend Abrams online, Melanie?
I don't think he's here yet, Mayor. I'm
Okay.
looking.
I don't see him on here yet.
Okay. Well, if he comes on, let's do this. We will still give him a chance if he would like to stay on until the meeting that closes out in the benediction. But since it's 9:01, we'll ask Councilman Gordon to lead us with the prayer and also lead us with the pledge. Councilman Gordon.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's pray. Dear Lord, we just thank you for another day. Lord, we thank you for blessing us with the opportunity to just live life that you've given us, the creation that you've given us. Lord, we just thank you for the roles that you've put us in this community. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to serve you as a team. Lord, we thank you for the guidance that you provide for us every single day. Lord, we thank you for the positivity that you've created through our leadership in the city. And we just ask that you continue to bless us, Lord. We ask that you continue to lead us and guide us in the daily decisions we make, the long-term decisions we make, Father, that we just have a heart for you, Lord, in everything that we do, and that we just follow your will in everything that we do. Father, I just pray for
Griff, are you still there? Hello, Mike. Can you all hear us?
I hear you.
I think he might have got disconnected.
Okay.
Griff froze up, it looked like.
Is he? I don't even see him on now.
I
Griff,
can't see him or hear him.
I see him.
you do see him, Wallace?
Yeah, it's frozen.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and lead with the pledge. If we can all stand, and if you all can join me in leading the pledge. We can all stand. Everyone see the flag over my left shoulder.
Yes.
All right. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge
To the flag
of the United States
of America,
to the
Republic
for which it stands,
and
one nation,
one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you all. If Griff get back on, which I confident that he will, we'll just proceed on with the meeting. Let me get situated here. Okay, is he still off? Okay, and Pastor Abram hadn't come in. If he does, maybe we can let him do benediction if he can stay on that long. So with that, council, as we stated, there's no presentation or proclamation. So at this time, council, on the city clerk, we have the approval of the regular scheduled meeting minutes for April the 5th work session, as well as April the 6th council meeting. So at this time, council, if it's at your pleasure, I'd like to call for a motion to approve with us doing one vote, if that's the pleasure of the council, that we'll take both of these, the April the 5th work session as well as April the 6th in one setting. So at this time, I'd like to call for the motion to approve the work session as well as the council meeting on the 5th and 6th of this month. May I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Okay, we got a motion by Councilman Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Bailey. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy. I think he's still having technical difficulty.
Mhm.
Mayor Lowe,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you. And now, council, proceeding on the city council. At this time, are there any unfinished business? Okay, there's not been any. We will proceed with the resolutions and on the administration. The first action is a resolution number 2021-69 to be ratified in reference to opposing House Bill 220. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. A resolution opposing the passage of House Bill 220 by the Alabama legislature. Whereas House Bill 220 is currently sponsored by Representatives Ledbetter, Sales, Shaver, Smith, Estes, Collins, Ball, Reynolds, K. Brown, Isbell, P. Moore, Ingram, Stradhagen, Kitchens, Marcuse, Pettis, Robertson, Sorrells, Shiver, Baker, Fincher, and Shedd during the 2021 regular session of the Alabama legislature currently convened. And whereas House Bill 220 relates to state property to amend sections 41-4-400 and 41-4-353 Code of Alabama 1975 to further provide for the authority of the Division of Construction Management and to provide that the Department of Education has authority to manage the construction and renovation of state property that is part of the K-12 public school, and the governing board of each public post-secondary institution and public institution of higher education has authority to manage the construction and renovation of property as it relates to that institution. And whereas if House Bill 220 passes as it is written, then many projects in educational buildings will be completed without independent code compliance review and inspections, which include structural, electrical, plumbing, and HVAC. And whereas the proposed legislation would negatively affect and alter current practices and is both overreaching and unwise. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama does submit to the Alabama legislature its official statement of opposition to the passage of House Bill 220 and any other similar legislation. Passed, approved, and adopted this 14th day of April 2021, ratified this 20th day of April 2021.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. Council, we've heard the reading of the resolution. At this time, I would like to ask for a motion to ratify for approval. May I have a motion?
Motion to ratify bill.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilwoman Johnson. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Who, that was Mr. Bailey?
That's fine.
Okay, we have the motion by Councilwoman Johnson. We have the second by Councilman Bailey. Any questions or discussion or comments? No question, but any discussion or comments? Okay, Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy, Mayor Lo,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay. Mr. Gordy, are you on?
I'm back. Sorry about that.
That's all right. We went ahead and did the pledge also.
Awesome.
Okay. Proceeding on, we're on the resolution, Mr. Gordon, on the administration with B. We have resolution number 2021-70 to be ratified in reference to opposing Senate Bill 165. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. A resolution opposing the passage of Senate Bill 165 by the Alabama legislature. Whereas Senate Bill 165 is currently sponsored by Senator Orr during the 2021 regular session of the Alabama legislature currently convened. And whereas Senate Bill 165 repeals existing law providing access to public records and replaces it with a new Alabama Public Records Act with provisions establishing the rights of citizens to access public records. And whereas Senate Bill 165 establishes procedures for making and responding to requests for access, setting the charges associated with responding to requests, and establishing a public access counselor within the Alabama Department of Examiners of Public Accounts, creating administrative and judicial remedies, and establishing civil penalties for noncompliance. And whereas the proposed legislation would negatively affect and alter current practices and is both overreaching and unwise. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama does submit to the Alabama legislature its official statement of opposition to the passage of Senate Bill 165 and any other similar legislation. Passed, approved, and adopted this 14th day of April 2021, ratified this 20th day of April 2021.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lee.
Yes, sir.
Council, we've all heard the reading of the resolution. At this time, I would like to ask for a motion to ratify for the approval of this resolution. May I have a motion to ratify for approval, please?
Motion to ratify.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Gordon. Are there any comments or discussion, council? Okay. Call for the vote, Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Proceeding on now, council, on administration. C, we have a resolution in reference to authorizing and directing the mayor and the city manager to sign an agreement with Neil Schaefer Incorporation regarding the bridge replacement on Seal Road over Cockaleachy Creek. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the city of Phoenix City has received federal funds through the Columbus Phoenix City Metropolitan Planning Organization, MPO, for the replacement of the bridge crossing Cockaleachy Creek along Seal Road, project number STPPC 57172521000067447. And whereas preliminary engineering services will be required for the development of contract documents for the construction of said project. And whereas Neil Schaefer Incorporated has provided a proposal in the amount of $273,512 for this scope of services. The Alabama Department of Transportation, ALDOT, concurs with the scopes and fees associated with this proposal. And whereas the city of Phoenix City will receive 80%, $218,809.60 federal funding and pledges the remaining 20%, $54,702.40. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama does hereby accept this proposal and authorizes and directs the mayor and city manager to enter into an agreement with Neil Schaefer Incorporated to provide preliminary engineering services for above said project. Passed, approved, and adopted this 20th day of April 2021.
Thank you so much. Council, we've heard the reading of the resolution. At this time, I would like to ask for a motion for approval. May I have a motion to approve, please?
Motion to
Motion to
approve.
approve.
All right, motion, Councilman Gordon, and second, Councilman Day.
That's fine.
Any comments or discussion?
Yes, Mayor, could we get somebody, Mr. Hunter, I know we discussed this particular item on yesterday. Could we get somebody to elaborate on today for the citizen of Phoenix City, see how that project gonna work? We realized that a phase one, we're gonna do a matching 20%, I believe. And then there's come a phase two on that bridge on the Old Seal Road.
Yes, sir, Mr. Day. This is the contract just to get the preliminary engineering started. So we don't currently have a timeline of when the project will begin or anything. This is the actual to begin the design work on the bridge. So what we'll have to do is once this contract is signed, we'll set up a scoping meeting with ALDOT and we'll have a big meeting out there to determine everything that's got to be done. And then we can start the process of the design work. And it is, this project is in our MPO. So the entire project, preliminary engineering and construction and engineering inspections is 80% federal money and then 20% local match.
And one of the things that once that project started, there's gonna be some detour, and as Mr. Hunter stated yesterday, you got the battle burden for improvement here in that area.
Yes, sir. There will have to be a detour around the bridge site, but I mean, it's a needed project.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Angel. Thank you, Mr. Day. Any other comments or discussion? If not, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, council, we have a resolution in reference to authorizing and directing the mayor and city manager to sign the proposal submitted by Signs Incorporation for the construction and installation of a new shared monument sign at the village of at Crosswind Shopping Center in an amount not to exceed $53,875.80. And council, I do know we discussed this yesterday, but I did talk to the city managers this morning. And so I will ask that Mrs. Lee read it, but I will ask for a motion to table it because the city manager wants to go back and look at some other bids, which he will explain after we get the motion and second, hopefully to table this. So with that, Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the city of Phoenix City formed a public-private partnership with Ulterior Development Company, LLC, the developer, for the construction of the Village at Crosswind Shopping Center in 2017. And whereas the current monument signage at the Village at Crosswind Shopping Center was constructed and installed by the developer and is subpar for the development. And whereas Addendum 1 of the sublease agreement between the City of Phoenix City and Renfro Incorporated states that the shared monument sign shall mean the shared monument sign to be constructed and installed by subleaser at the location shown on the site plan. And whereas the City of Phoenix City is the subleaser and responsible for the construction and installation of the shared monument sign. And whereas the city has received 3 quotes for the construction and installation of a new shared monument sign, in which Signs Incorporated is the lowest bidder and will construct and install the shared monument sign at a cost of $53,875.80. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama, that the mayor and city manager authorized and directed to sign the proposal submitted by Signs Incorporated to construct and install a shared monument sign at the Village at Crosswind Shopping Center per the approved specifications for a cost not to exceed $53,875.80. Passed, approved, and adopted this 20th day of April, 2021.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lee. Council, as stated, you've heard the reading of this resolution. We discussed it yesterday, but at this time, I would like to ask for a motion to table for the reason of giving the city manager opportunity to get some other bids. And as I stated, we will ask him to interject, to let the council know what his reasons are. But at this time, council, I would like to ask for a motion to table this for those reasons that stated earlier by me. May I have a motion to table?
Motion to table.
All right, that motion, Mr. Day, is that a second, Mrs. Johnson?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, so we have the motion and the second to table. At this time, I'd like to call for the vote. Well, before we do, I'll ask the city manager if he wants to go ahead and discuss the reason for this.
Okay, I'll let Sean, we're gonna look into some other things. Sean, you want to take care of that?
Yes, sir, absolutely. So the mayor and city council, city manager and I had further conversations after the work session yesterday about this. And essentially what this amounts to, we want to look to potentially go into a different direction, which may open itself up to some continued negotiations on this sign. So this essentially giving us a little time to dive a little further into that and see which direction we can go.
Okay. Any comments? Council.
Yes, Sean, did I understand you said a possibility that we'll be able to save a little bit more money?
Well, I'll say that this will give us an opportunity to dive further into negotiations. Now, where we're able to go with that, we don't know, but we think there's an opportunity for that.
Okay, thank you, Sean.
But in the event that it doesn't, we just want to make something correct something.
That's correct.
Right, Sean?
That's correct, Mayor. Yes, sir.
So I don't want us to just, this is a caveat. If it doesn't come back saving, hopefully it will. It's just the right thing to do. And I hope I'm speaking in line, Mr. Hane.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, you're right. And we're gonna carry it through in a different process.
Okay.
Mayor, excuse me, Mayor, may I ask a question? Do you think it maybe should be deleted instead of tabled if it might come back in a different different way? That may be a question for Mr. Graham.
Jimmy, is it Jimmy? Jimmy, can you hear us? You're on mute. Take yourself off of mute, Jimmy.
I'm trying.
Okay, you hear the
We
question?
hear you. We hear you. Go ahead.
Is it better to table or delete it?
Well, if we're coming back possibly with a totally different concept,
Mhm.
I think we would be better off to delete it than to table.
Good.
Good, okay, well, let me have a point of privilege, council, let me rechange this, as far as this, resolution. I would like to ask for a motion, make sure this is recorded, Melanie. We want to rescind the first one that I stated. At this time, council, I would like to make a motion due to the fact that we just heard, not knowing whether this will come in at a cheaper price or more price, but we are doing the right thing. So at this time, I would like to ask for a motion, council, that we delete this resolution due to the fact, as we've heard earlier, that we will be coming back with another resolution in reference of this sign. So again, to make it short, I would like to ask for a motion to delete this action item. May I have a motion to delete?
I'll offer the motion at this time, Mayor.
All right, we have the motion by Councilman Day. May I have a second?
Second.
We have the second by Councilwoman Johnson. So with that, any other discussions or comments? Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Mr. Graham. So at this time, we would like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Proceeding on, council, on administration. We have a resolution in reference to awarding the bid to Malone Office Environments for white copy paper. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the city of Phoenix City received bids for white copy paper as required under the Alabama bid law. And whereas 3 companies submitted bids for this service. And whereas the city wishes to accept the bid from Malone Office Environments per the bid schedule. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama accepts the bid from Malone Office Environments for white copy paper. Passed, approved, and adopted this 20th day of April, 2021.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Lee. Council, we've heard the resolution. Reading of the resolution, may I have a motion to approve, please?
Motion
to approve. Motion by Councilman Bailey. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Gordy. Comments or discussion? Okay. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Proceeding now, council on the building department. We have a public hearing and approval of resolutions in reference to the fixing of costs incurred by the city of Phoenix City for removal of substandard structures and the establishment of special assessments upon properties located at 1900 2nd Avenue, 2013 2nd Avenue, 323 South Sierra Road. At this time, council, I would like to declare this as a public hearing. And if there's anyone out there that would like to address the council in the reference of fixing of costs and the removal of substandards, now's the time to do so. We will do it by phone. The phone number to call in is at 334-448-2704. If there's anyone that would like to address the council in the reference of these removal of substandards and fixing of costs, please feel free to do so. I am turning the phone up. The number to call in on is 334-448-2704. Again, 334-448-2704. If there's anyone that would like to address council in this matter, please feel free to call us at that number. We'll give a few minutes, council. Again, 334-448-2702.
And Mayor, just as a record, just so it'll be on record, I just want to let everybody know I did post a public notice at the Martin Idlehour Community Center saying that if anyone was showing up for these 3 public hearings, that they could call in that number in your office
Okay,
and be heard.
we'll give another minute, council. Thank you so much for that, Melanie. We want to make sure we give everyone the opportunity, or anyone, everyone an opportunity if they would like to address this council. Okay, it seems, appears that we do not have anyone at this time that want to address us by calling in. So, council, I am declaring this public hearing closed. And at this time, I would like to call on our clerk to read one master resolution, council. And we will take all of these, if it's the pleasure of the council, in one setting. Okay, council?
That's fine.
Okay. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama was requested by the building official of the city to authorize the demolition and removal of substandard structures at the following locations in Phoenix City: 1900 2nd Avenue, 2013 2nd Avenue, 323 South Seal Road. And whereas the City Council on the 15th day of September 2020, by resolution number 2020-232, by resolution number 2020-233, and by resolution 220-236, approve the apparent low bid to demolish and or remove said substandard structures located on each property listed above. And whereas the city has given notice by certified or registered mail to the person or persons last assessed for ad valorem taxes for each property, and a notice has been published in the Citizen of East Alabama, a local newspaper of general circulation, at least 15 days before this final hearing for the fixing of cost for each property. And whereas after giving all interested parties an opportunity at this public hearing to address council on this, the 20th day of April, on the issue of the fixing of cost in these cases, the City Council believes the fixing of costs have been determined and that they should be assessed against the substandard structures as named above and recorded in the probate office to protect the interest of the city. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama as follows. 1, that the final cost in removal of the substandard structures at the following locations are as follows: 1900 2nd Avenue, $4,950. 2013 2nd Avenue, $3,800. 323 South Seal Road, $4,200. 2, that the city clerk file a certified copy of each resolution with the probate judge of Russell County, Alabama, to establish a special assessment that shall constitute a lien of Phoenix City, Alabama upon each property that shall be collected through the Revenue Commissioner's Office for Russell County, Alabama. 3, that the legal description for each property is listed on each individual resolution for that particular property as taken from the records of the Revenue Commissioner's Office at Russell County. 4, that the property owners listed below for each property are as shown on the tax records of Russell County, Alabama. 1900 2nd Avenue, Pittsview Holding LLC, 2018 tax sale, 598 Cottonton Road, Pittsview, Alabama, 36871. 2013 2nd Avenue, Faithful Missionary Baptist Church, attention Pastor Ernest Sneed IV, 201 20th Street, Phoenix City, Alabama, 36867. 323 South Seal Road, Letitia Stewart, 718 Highway 26, Hatchatchubby, Alabama, 36858. Passed, approved, and adopted this 20th day of April, 2021.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Lee.
Yeah.
Council, each of us have heard the reading of the master resolution. At this time, I would like to ask for a motion for approval. May I have a motion to approve, please?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion, Councilman Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Gordon. Comments or discussion? Okay, if not any, call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
yes,
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, council, on the engineering and public works department, we have a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor, city manager to sign change order number 1 with JHC Corporation for installation of interior baseboards at the Phoenix City Riverwalk Timber Bridge in an amount not to exceed $800. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas in previously adopted resolution number 2020-241, JHC Corporation was contracted to perform structural repairs and reconstruction of the elevated wooden portion of the Riverwalk in an amount not to exceed $318,000. And whereas during the demolition phase of the project, the contractor, JHC Corporation, noted that the existing Riverwalk structure had an interior baseboard at the bottom of the railing that was not shown to be reinstalled on the contract drawing. And whereas due to aforementioned, it has been determined that a change order is necessary, more specifically as follows. The contract sum prior to the change order is $318,000. Add an interior baseboard along the handrail section of both sides of the Riverwalk structure for an additional amount of $800. The new contract sum will be in the total amount of $318,800. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama does hereby authorize and direct the mayor and city manager to sign change order number 1. Passed, approved, and adopted this 20th day of April, 2021.
Okay, thank you. Council, we've heard the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve. May I have a motion for approval, please?
Motion to approve.
All right, motion by Councilwoman Johnson. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Gordon.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have the motion and second. Any comments or discussion? Okay, Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. And proceeding on, Council on the Parks and Recreation Department. We have a resolution in reference to a one-time compensation of $500 to Glenwood girls basketball team. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama desires to serve the residents by supporting recreational services. And whereas the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama would like to recognize the accomplishments of the Glenwood girls basketball team.
I just didn't know.
And whereas the Glenwood girls basketball team competed in the Alabama Independent School Association AAA State Championship on February the 17th, 2021. And whereas the Glenwood girls basketball team was named the 2020-2021 AISA AAA State Champions. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama wishes to make a one-time compensation payment of $500, provided funds are available, to the Glenwood girls basketball team. Be it further resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama does congratulate the Glenwood girls basketball team on their successful season. Passed, approved, and adopted this 20th day of April, 2021.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. Council, we've heard the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion for approval, please.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilman Bailey. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Gordon. Comments or discussion? Okay. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Also proceeding on the Parks and Recreation, we have a resolution in reference to a one-time compensation of $500 to Glenwood varsity cheerleaders team. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama desires to serve the residents by supporting recreational services. And whereas the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama would like to recognize the accomplishments of the 2020 Glenwood varsity cheerleaders team. And whereas the Glenwood varsity cheerleaders team competed in the Alabama Independent School Association cheerleading competition on November the 7th, 2020. And whereas the Glenwood varsity cheerleaders team were named the 2020 AISA State Champions Large Varsity Division. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama wishes to make a one-time compensation payment of $500, provided funds are available, to the Glenwood varsity cheerleaders team. Be it further resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama does congratulate the 2020 Glenwood Varsity Cheerleaders team on their successful season. Passed, approved, and adopted this 20th day of April, 2021.
Thank you, Ms. Lee.
Yes, sir.
Council, we've heard the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion for approval, please. May I have a
Motion
motion?
to approve.
Motion, Councilman Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Bailey. Any comments or discussion? Okay, Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And council, the next resolution on the Parks and Recreation is a resolution in reference to a one-time compensation of $500 to Glenwood volleyball team. Mrs. Lee.
Yes. Whereas the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama desires to serve the residents by supporting recreational services. And whereas the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama would like to recognize the accomplishments of the 2020 Glenwood volleyball team. And whereas the Glenwood volleyball team competed in the Alabama Independent School Association AAA State Volleyball Championship on October the 29th, 2020. And whereas the Glenwood volleyball team was named the 2020 AISA AAA State Champions. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama wishes to make a one-time compensation payment of $500, provided funds are available, to the Glenwood volleyball team. Be it further resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama does congratulate the 2020 Glenwood volleyball team on their successful season. Passed, approved, and adopted this 20th day of April, 2021.
Okay, council, we've all heard the reading of the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion for approval. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Motion, Councilman Gordon. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilwoman Johnson.
Yes. Thank you.
Council, we have the motion and second. Any comments or discussion?
Can I say one thing, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to figure out what happened to all the boys up at Glenwood. These women done put it on. They really have. They're outstanding, and I congratulate all three of the different ones, the basketball, the varsity cheerleaders, and the volleyball team. So let's get them boys out there playing some baseball, and maybe they can win a state championship in baseball. And the girls can do one in softball possibly. So congratulations to them. Job well done. And I'm just teasing about all the boys up there. I was one of the guys at Glenwood one time, and we didn't win any championships either. So
Let me tell you.
It started with the first group of us way back yonder. But the boys have won a lot of them over the years, so it's wonderful to see the girls do so well.
Like Mr. Hunter stated yesterday, and listen, they did an outstanding job, but I don't care what, you have to compete. I mean, when you win, you compete against someone. So congratulations again. So thank you for that, Mr. Bailey. Any other comments or discussion? If not, Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Council on the Utilities Department. We have a resolution in reference to the Municipal Water Pollution Prevention, MWPP 2020 Annual Report. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the City of Phoenix City, Alabama is required by the Alabama Department of Environmental Management, ADEM, to file a Municipal Water Pollution Prevention, MWPP, annual report for our wastewater treatment plant. And whereas the Utilities Department has prepared the report as required by ADEM. And whereas the report has been reviewed as required by the city's consulting engineer, Constantine Engineering. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama accepts the 2020 annual MWPP report for 2021 and authorizes the Utilities Department to file the report with ADEM. Passed, approved, and adopted this 20th day of April, 2021.
Thank you so much. Council, we've heard the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion for approval. May I have a motion to approve, please?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilman Gordy. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Day. Comments or discussion, Council? Okay, if not any, call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
yes,
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, proceeding on, council on the utilities departments. We have a resolution in reference to accepting a quote from Salem Petroleum Technicians LLC to perform tank monitoring installation work on the underground storage tank in an amount not to exceed $15,427.50. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the wastewater treatment plant, WWTP, has an underground storage tank, UST, which provides fuel to the WWTP's main emergency power generator. And whereas the city of Phenix City, Alabama's wastewater treatment plant had a UST inspection on January the 11th, 2021, which indicated that additional test information was needed for the UST to be in compliance with the new ATM regulations for USTs. And whereas modifications to the UST are needed to be able to get said test information. And whereas the WWTP requested quotes for said modifications from 4 companies, and the lowest quote received was a combined quote of $21,127.50 from 2 different companies. Salem Petroleum Technicians LLC's quote to perform the tank monitor installation is in the amount of $15,427.50, and Brown and Sons LLC quote to perform the electrical work is in the amount of $5,700. And whereas the city of Phenix City desires to allow Salem Petroleum Technicians LLC to perform the tank monitor installation work on the WWTP UST. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama hereby accepts and authorizes Salem Petroleum Technicians LLC to perform tank monitor installation work on the WWTP UST an amount not to exceed $15,427.50. Now passed, approved, and adopted this 20th day of April 2011.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. Council, we've heard the resolution. May I have a motion to approve, please?
motion to
Motion to
approve,
approve.
All right, motion, Councilwoman Johnson, that's the second, Mr. Day.
That's fine.
Okay, any comments or discussion? All right, Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
yes,
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
And also council on the utilities department. We have a resolution in reference to accepting a quote from Brown and Sons LLC to perform electrical work on the underground storage tank in an amount not to exceed $5,700. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the wastewater treatment plant, WWTP, has an underground storage tank, UST, which provides fuel to the WWTP's main emergency power generator. And whereas the city of Phenix City, Alabama wastewater treatment plant had a UST inspection on January the 11th, 2021, which indicated that additional test information was needed for the UST to be in compliance with new ATM regulations for USTs. And whereas modifications to the UST are needed to be able to get said test information. And whereas the WWTP requested quotes for said modifications from 4 companies, and the lowest quote received was a combined quote of $21,127.50 from 2 different companies. Brown and Sons LLC's quote to perform electrical work is in the amount of $5,700, and Salem Petroleum Technician LLC's quote to perform the tank monitor installation is in the amount of $15,427.50. And whereas the city of Phenix City desires to allow Brown and Sons LLC to perform the electrical work on the UST in the amount of $5,700. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phenix City, Alabama hereby accepts and authorizes Brown and Sons LLC to perform electrical work on the WWTP UST in an amount not to exceed $5,700. Passed, approved, and adopted this 20th day of April 2021.
All right, thanks so much, Ms. Lee. Council, we've all heard the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion for approval. May I have a motion, Council, to approve?
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Gordy. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Bailey. Comments or discussion, Council?
Just one question, Mayor. How long will
Yes.
this total repair take? Does anybody have an estimated guess?
Councilman Bailey, the wastewater treatment plant staff was told it'd take a couple of days to get this completed. So that's all we know as of now until they get on site.
Well, the reason I was asking that, because, it was an emergency power generator, so I just, hoping that it didn't take too long in case we had to use the emergency power generator.
Yes, sir.
When they go to make the repair, I'm assuming that the power generator would be down and not operable. I'm assuming would only make good sense if you can't have something working condition while you're working on it. So do we only use that just maybe during electrical storms or bad thunderstorms, or how often does that generator actually have to maybe do something?
That's the only time the generator is used, when in the loss of power, and majority of the time it is when storms come through. If there's a major storm that comes through, I think the last time where we had to use emergency power with the storm was when that tornado came through the plant. We was actually on emergency power for a little while. Other than that, the generator's exercised every Friday for 30 minutes.
Okay. So in other words, it's really not much of a danger that it would be down and out if we had to use it. It doesn't sound like. That was the main question that I had. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Bailey. Any other comments or discussion? If not, at this time, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
yes,
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, council on the ordinance, we have a first reading. It's an ordinance to review wearing masks in buildings or indoor spaces managed, leased, or owned by the city of Phoenix City, Alabama. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. An ordinance to require wearing masks in buildings or indoor spaces managed, leased, or owned by the city of Phoenix City, Alabama. Whereas the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama recognizes the emergency declarations of the President of the United States and the Governor of the State of Alabama related to the spread of COVID-19 disease in our community. And whereas the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama has authority under Alabama Code Section 1147-130 and Section 1147-131 to prevent the introduction of contagious, infectious, or pestilential diseases into the city, and to establish and regulate a sufficient quarantine not inconsistent with laws of the state in the city, and to punish any breach of quarantine law. And whereas the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama finds that it is in the best interest of the public health, public peace, health, welfare, and safety, and to preserve the lives and protect the health of citizens of the City of Phoenix City, to require that masks consisting of at least simple cloth face coverings be worn by persons when entering buildings or indoor spaces owned, managed, or leased by the City of Phoenix City. Now therefore be it ordained as follows. All persons, including city employees, entering a building or indoor space owned, managed, operated, or leased by the City of Phoenix City shall wear a cloth face covering or mask. Persons who do not have a cloth face covering or mask will be provided one at the entrance, subject to availability. Persons who refuse to wear a mask and or decline the complimentary one offered will be denied entry unless they fall under one of the below listed exceptions. A face covering or mask is defined as a device or material to cover the nose and mouth of a person to impede the spread of saliva or other fluids during speaking, coughing, sneezing, or other intentional or involuntary action. Medical grade masks are not required. Coverings may be fashioned from scarves, bandanas, or other suitable fabrics. The mask must cover the mouth and nose of the wearer. Once a person has entered the building, the person shall continue to wear the cloth face covering or mask while in the building. Should the person remove their cloth face covering or mask while in the building, a representative of the office may ask that person to leave. Employees working alone in their respective offices or workspaces are exempted from this rule and may remove their mask while in their offices or individual workspaces, as long as they are able to maintain appropriate physical distancing. However, employees must be prepared to don and wear a face covering or mask when leaving their offices or individual workspaces and while interacting with others where physical distancing of more than 6 feet cannot be consistently maintained. The following exceptions shall apply. Cloth face coverings or masks are not required to be worn by children under the age of 6 and older children who are unable to wear a mask properly or safely, and persons with a medical, physiological, or psychological condition or disability that prevents wearing a face covering, including persons with a medical condition for whom wearing a face covering could obstruct breathing or who are unconscious, incapacitated, or otherwise unable to remove a face covering without assistance. No person declining to wear a cloth face covering or mask because of a medical condition shall be required to produce verifying medical documentation. And persons who are deaf or hard of hearing and for whom wearing a face covering prevents the use of this person's hearing aid, and persons while communicating with a person who is deaf or hard of hearing and for whom the ability to see the mouth is essential for communication, and persons for whom wearing a face covering would create a risk to the person related to their work as determined by local, state, or federal regulations or workplace safety guidelines. Signage consistent with this ordinance will be clearly and conspicuously posted at every entrance to every building, office, or public space owned, managed, operated, or leased by the city of Phenix City, Alabama. Failure to comply with this ordinance can be enforced by a uniform non-traffic citation and penalty consistent with section 1 through 7 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Phenix City, general penalty continuing violations. This ordinance shall become effective upon passage and publication in the Citizen of East Alabama newspaper and continuing until it is rescinded, superseded, or amended. Passed, approved, and adopted this 20th day of April, 2021.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lee. Catch your breath. Thank you so much. Council, we've heard the reading of this ordinance. At this time, I'd like to call for a motion to approve for first reading. I have a motion to approve for first reading, Council.
Motion to approve.
Motion, Mr. Bailey, and second, Mrs. Johnson, correct?
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Thank
So we
you.
have the motion and second. Any comments or discussion?
Mayor, I just want to say, it is very important that we put this on enforce this ordinance because, again, as we have heard from the news, that our numbers look like they're creeping back up across the state and the country. So we definitely has to be proactive, and this is one of those proactive measures that we're taking seriously about making sure that everyone continue to, wear a mask until we are in a safe turnaround from this COVID-19. So thank you, city manager and your team for looking into this and making sure that, any city building and area that we're protected by this mandate. So thank you for looking and being proactive and doing such a thing.
Thank
I
you, Mrs.
like
Johnson.
that it's very important. There's so much more to this than what the general public can see. And these from section 1147, 130, going and dealing with health and cleanliness throughout our state. You can go back into the code back in 1907 and you'll look, and that's without COVID or any other type of health problems that we had throughout the United States and through the state of Alabama that we are having to look at now. Protecting is very serious. We protect our workforce here because so many people are having problems even having people to be able to work at a lot of places. We're dealing with people that want to open up businesses in this city with chain franchises that can't do it because they don't have enough people to work or come to work. And that it's a lot of things contributing factors to that as far as what people want to work and don't want to work. But at the same time here, we have to protect the people. As of this morning, what are 67,000 cases reported yesterday throughout the nation. So yes, the numbers are creeping, and and it's a fact that it's still a lot of danger out there. So we really are worried about our personnel. Some people have taken the shots and some people haven't. We've had an incentive program that we're putting in place to try to help people make that decision to try to protect themselves, because there's still lingering factor out there that can harm people and their families, and they can carry this to someone else. So we are hoping and looking at every corner that we should look at as a municipality to make sure that we maintain a sufficient workforce to serve our citizens. It's very important, and it's a tough fight right now to make sure we do that. You know, some people will agree with what we're doing, and some people may not. But at the same time, we have to make those tough decisions to put these things and implement these things and put them in place. And that's what we plan to do to make sure we could serve this city. This city runs 24/7. It don't get a chance to close. So we are doing everything we can to make sure that our workers and their families and the citizens that are involved with us are protected. Thank you.
May I ask one other question while you were city buildings, any of the city buildings, are they open fully right now, operating on a skeleton, activity such as the activity center? Can you just share any information as to whether or not we're fully open, and then of course practicing these guidelines?
Todd, you want to handle it?
Yes. Currently, right now, Ms. Johnson, the Central Activity Center is open to limited capacity. We haven't opened up any of our indoor facilities back to full capacity at this time. We're still doing ours at half capacity or shortened capacity. We are looking to start opening our outdoor venues starting May 1st for reservations, but they'll still have to follow the same protocols that we have in place with the social distancing and the mask ordinance. But right now, currently, our indoor facilities are still at a reduced admittance.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for that information, Todd. I'm thanking Ms. Johnson for opening that up as well. It brought to my attention just this past weekend, had those same questions asked to me. And thank you for sharing that information. You say about May 1st, you're looking to open up the outdoor venues. Is that correct? And that includes parks.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that. I hope somebody's watching this. Thank you.
Yeah, and not only that, people got to realize this situation we in is not going anywhere.
Of course not.
We're making adjustments because people are getting tired, and we're gonna pay a price also for that, because people are getting impatient and they're getting tired, but of things. But at the same time, we have to be cautious, very cautious, and especially with the city, we definitely have to be cautious here. But this short patience is not gonna make it disappear. It's
right.
And we've got to, like I say, protect the things that we have going on in the city and stuff like that, and people have to find different type measures to satisfy and please themselves. But, a lot of the children getting out of the younger people that can carry and transmit a lot of the different things to the older generation, so it's pretty bad. We've been hit real hard. So a lot of people need to really just take a big dose of understanding what patience is. And it's going to be, you can just about set your mind, which I have, and knowing that it's changed a lot of things for us in all type of ways. But I think we are doing good. But as far as people putting pressure on us, to do things that we shouldn't do at this point in time, that's not gonna work.
Okay.
Can I say something, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I was just gonna say, being part of this council, it's our responsibility to all of our city employees and all the public in this city, all the citizens, that when they come in contact with each other, everybody's, as safe as possible. Everybody talks about COVID, and COVID is the top thing that, you turn on the news and you see every day. So like Mr. Hunter said, and Ms. Johnson said, COVID has not gone away. We're learning to deal with it a little bit easier. Everybody has gotten cabin fever, so to speak, but you've lost sight of some things. These masks and all, they have not just helped with COVID, but you haven't heard about flu epidemics this year. You haven't heard about a lot of other diseases that can be passed and transmitted the same way. So, but right now, till we get a handle just on everybody's safety from everything and learn how to be respectful of each other, this is very important for us to continue to use these guidelines, masks, and staying socially distant. And we're going to have a lot of businesses that are going to still require them, even though the governor might lax up on it. Personal businesses, owners and all, they got the right to request that and require that. So the local government can control what we've got control of, and then business owners can control the other. But as citizens and just as human beings close to each other, in contact with each other, whether we're at church, at work, or at a ball field or what, just be mindful and respectful of each other. And just, do what you should do as a person that cares about the person that's across from you. So, just remember to be as safe and clean as possible. And maybe all this will go away. But like Mr. Hunter said, it's no time soon this is going away. Mr. Johnson hit it dead on the head. These numbers are creeping up because people are getting impatient. But don't sacrifice a whole year of what everybody's done to get out of here too quick and think that, everything's back to normal as it was in 2019, because it's not.
Thank you all, Mrs. Johnson, Mr. Day, Mr. Bailey. Thank you, Mr. Hunter also. Any other comments or discussion? Okay, at this time, Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Next, council, at this time, I'd like to turn it over to our city attorney, Mr. Graham, Mr. Jimmy Graham.
Mayor and council, we have one claim on the agenda today. It's filed by Ms. Barbara Cherry. Lives at 9 Lot Road, Phenix City, Alabama. On April the 1st, 2021, she was traveling on Highway 80. A backhoe, a city backhoe, was coming her way with a barrel in the front part of the backhoe, which it wasn't properly strapped in. It fell out, struck her car, doing damage to her front bumper and side fender. She submitted 3 estimates as required by the city. However, in her interview with the police officer, she indicated that the barrel had damaged the left side of her front bumper by putting a bigger crack in it and scratching the front of the bumper. She stated that a small crack in the bumper was already there from hitting a deer, but that the barrel made the crack bigger. And as I told y'all yesterday, I would request that y'all table this until our first meeting in May. Give me a chance to talk to Ms. Cherry and see if we can negotiate a lower price for the repair, because the car was already injured or damaged, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. Council, we've heard the recommendation from our attorney. At this time, I'd like to call for a motion to table based on his recommendation. I have a motion to table, please.
Motion to table.
Okay, we have the motion. Mr. Day, may I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Gordon.
Yes.
Okay, we have the motion and second. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Mayor, could I say something else that doesn't have anything to do with legal?
Yes.
I just don't know if everybody knows that our Central High School baseball team has a record of either 27 or 28-3. Last week before last, they swept Smith Station, which puts them in line to play Auburn this Wednesday in Auburn, and then a doubleheader at Darnell Field Thursday. If we win 2 of those 3 games, we win the area, which we haven't done in baseball in a long time. I think even if we don't win 2 of the 3, we still go to the playoffs. And I just want to ask everybody to come out and support them Wednesday when they're in town. And
Thursday. Is it Thursday?
I mean,
Mayor?
Thursday. They've got some mighty good players, and a lot of those players have committed to go to college. And our home run hitter is Zion Morris, who is an outfielder and a relief pitcher, and he's really good. And the whole team is good. So I just, remind y'all of those things and ask you to come out and support them Wednesday.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Grant. We certainly appreciate that. They're ours, we need to support them.
Exactly.
Council, anyone like to say?
Mayor, I just have one thing. I had the opportunity to attend a book signing down at South Girard this past weekend. And I just want to say congratulations to South Girard. I don't know if you can actually see this, but this is a book of depicting events and conversations from student teachers and administrators that was written by Ms. Florence. And the time frame from 1945 to 1970. And so I just want to say congratulations to those South Girard Bulldogs. And if anyone want a copy of the book, from what I'm told, to see the South Girard alumni for a copy of it. But it's a great piece of artwork. And I just want to congratulate them on a job well done. You really mean a lot being in our community, really.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Any
Thank
other council person?
Yes, Mayor. I believe on April the 27th, the AG will be in our city at 3 p.m. And let me ask this question this way. Is that for just the Assistant Chief Green family, or just anybody could come and ask any question to the AG?
I don't know. And Chief Smith interject with that.
I can interject from that. This is a presentation specifically for the AG. This is not a question and answer period. He's coming to give a presentation to the family. It's all certainly the council is welcome to come and attend, but this is going to be his show and his rules. He's coming to present a plaque and a recognition to Gail's family, and that's the purpose of him being here. So I don't think this is a speaking stop. This is a presentation and recognition of Gail and her family, not anything else.
Okay. Thank you for that, Chief, for clearing that up. And as I sit here and listen very diligently, I heard positive comment coming from all the other council members, and I concur with that. But one of the things on my mind is this, Mr. Hunter, the mayor, and the rest of the council. As I drove through up Sanford Road on yesterday and on 7th Street, we have so much paper and trash out in our city. At this time, we want to ask our citizens be mindful not to throw trash and paper out and on the streets like that. Let's try to keep our city as clean as possible,
Right.
if we possibly can, because it's very trashy. I got to say on 7th Street up here in Sanford Road as I look on yesterday. And Mayor, there's one other thing. My final comment is this. It had nothing to do with the city, but I like to say this. we have one citizen here that, matter of fact, right now, present in this room right now, I like to take my hats off to her for being married to me for 50 years on yesterday and putting up with me for 50 years through this council training and all that. She's been putting up with me. She's still putting up with me. And my hats goes off to my wife, Izola Day. Thank you. That's all I have, Mayor. And we did it all without Dr. Phil, Mayor.
Thank you. Eva Griff?
I'm good.
Okay,
I'm all right today. I kind of said what I wanted to about the COVID issue earlier, so that was about all I had to say on it. Thank you.
thank you. Mr. Hunter?
All right, Mayor, a couple of things. One is I want to make an appeal to the citizens that's watching this to spread the news that if they see anything, the citizens see anything that's suspicious, please report those activities to our 911 center. That's what we're there for. And, you know, part of this thing about all this trash being thrown out on the streets is because of some of the activities that we have, and a lot of that is bleeding over from Columbus. We have a parade of cars that's coming over from Columbus, 30 or 40 vehicles. When we talked about this yesterday, at the same time we was talking about this, the chief was doing some locating of these activities that we can see on cameras. And he was able to see everything that I followed the other day and was able to report to them. And you're able to plan to try to stop some of these things from happening over here. But I've never seen the Broadway extension with so much trash on it before. And I mean, it stayed pretty clean, as the extension does. But you know something is going wrong when you start seeing the trash that's there. And these are, like I say, we're asking citizens to do things, and it's citizens from here and not from here that's throwing trash out of their cars. But the activities that they're doing as far as having people frightened to be on the roads, we got to put a stop to that. So I like to say things up front. It's not always a good, clean, pure operation that we can put in place because of people's behavior. This community has got to fight real hard. People who want to have a good community has got to voice up. They've got to speak out, and they've got to get out here with activities around churches adopting different areas to have cleanup on Saturdays to help with this, because it's nothing that the city's workforce can do alone. This is a massive operation that's got to take place to try to do things within our city. You know, we got to take pride, and we got to fight back. We got to fight the negativity, and we're not doing that good enough. That's obvious in what we can see. You know, the picture is there to take a look at. So we've got a lot of reporting that's got to be done to give our police officers a chance to respond, to be at these locations, to try to turn people around to go somewhere else if they're not going to behave on our streets in Phoenix City. We got to fight to take the streets back. And that's what we will be doing. So, and that don't always go good. I'm sorry to say that, but I can't sweeten that picture up enough for you. But we're going to put every effort in place to make sure people know to take that type of activity somewhere else. And just want to thank everybody for the work that they're doing and working on the different things here in the city so we can continue to progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hunter. And again, I just want to say thanks to this council for all the support that we provide collectively. And I just want to thank the city manager, his staff, department head. But as he stated, you know, we're all in this thing together. And as you've heard me say before, to get the right person, we have to be the right person. However, let me caveat that. There are times where we have to be bold for the sake of the whole, for the holistic approach. To the council and everyone who represents the city, there's time we have to be bold to make sure that quality of life and things, the betterment that we're trying to push and do, that everybody can share in this. And there's time we got to get on the table. There's time we have to push each other. But we do need to be mindful that we have to be the right person. And as I say that, we have to push back, as Mr. Hunter said, for the right reason. Every now and then, it may have to be for us individually but that should be very near, because again, we're in the servanthood position. We wanted to do this, and we have to do it wholeheartedly, and also sometimes have sacrificial leadership, which means that, you know, we come last. But again, I do want to encourage us to be bold for the right reason, for the sake of this entire city, for the sake of each other, because we are a team. And I certainly appreciate everyone. Appreciate this council. We don't always agree, but we do it in decency and we do it in order when we do disagree. And I'm so grateful for that. And we still love each other. So with that said, let's continue to push. Let's continue to be the right person. So at this time, council, I want to say that we will adjourn at this time, and may you all have a